You're going to take your feet and really spread them out in your parallel position. So I've got, you know, about a fist or two between my feet, and I'm really spreading out my toes. So it's almost like I've got webbed feet, like a duck. And I'm just going to take some time to just really rock forwards and backwards and side to side. So just taking some time, just do it small. The aim is to just sort of test your balance and waking up some of those other senses that have got dulled by the day or the week or the year. So just take some time and then let those little sways and movements get all the smaller until you can find where your perfect point of balance is. So it's like there's no effort for you to stand just as you are. Try not to think about pulling your tummy in just now or tucking your bum in. You should have a nice curve in your spine. Your tummy should be soft. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about pulling up the shoulders. Just be worried about standing in the space. Relax your bum. Take another couple of those nice sighing breaths. Good. And then we're just going to test where we feel our center is, just to waken up a little bit. So you're going to pull in your tummy as if you're squeezing your tummy muscles like you've been punched in the belly to 100 degrees. And then let it go to about 50 and let it go completely. And let your belly go nice and soft again. Take a breath there. That feels nice. And again, so pull it in as tight as you can, really, really overdo it so you can really feel almost uncomfortable. And then let it go again to about 50. And then just a little tiny bit more until you feel like that's my comfortable place. That's where I feel like I'm sort of engaging something. I'm not sure what it is, but it's something. Okay, so we're going to try, when I'm saying engage your core today, that's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about that feeling there, as if you just tense your tummy, as if you're about to sneeze and you have that moment of tension. We're going to move our mind onto our pelvic floor. So I want you to imagine that your pelvic floor is like an elevator. And you're going to squeeze it all the way up to the very, very top floor, skyscraper level, up, 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 up. And then release it down to about 50. And then all the way, just let it go. And just you can feel your glutes completely relaxing there. So remembering when we're tightening up the pelvic floor in particular, that it's just as important to release as it is to engage, because that's how the muscles are working. So we're going to pull in that pelvic floor all the way up. So just that feeling like you need a wee, and squeezing as hard as you can all the way up to your belly button. And this time we're going to drop it to about 50 and then a tiny bit more. And that's where all pelvic floor is. So throughout, if ever I go, think about your core, think about engaging it, think about your pelvic floor. Those are the sorts of feelings. You'll ebb and flow. And sometimes you'll just go, you know what, I can't even be asked to think about that. And that's fine. Don't. So thinking about that sensation here, thinking about that sensation down here, just going to get some mobility in the head. So just very, very slowly saying no with the head. And think about tracing the horizon. Imagine there's a horizon, or as you're looking around your spaces, really see everything. See things that are on the walls. See things out the window. Try not to see things that you wish you couldn't see, like that horrible coffee ring or something like that. Good. And then when you bring it back to the center next time, just take it gently up and down. So we're not throwing our head back, we're just gently lifting our chin and taking the eye line up. And then dropping your chin down towards your chest. And as always, like you're trying to find your toes. And then back up again. So not crunching the neck, just taking your face towards the ceiling. And then back down. One more of those. And back to the center. Good. So we're going to move to the shoulders. That's just got your head moving a little bit. So if you've tensed your glutes already, I have, which is what I'm saying to you. Just give them a little rest. Just let those glutes rest, okay? Okay, let's just concentrate on everything else, but not the glutes. So we're going to take a nice shoulder roll. Really pull those shoulders in towards your ears and then drop them down the spine. And again, so big shoulder roll. That's good. If you want to use the breath, think of breathing in on the roll and out as they go down. Good. So a couple more of those. Really nice. You can go as fast as me or slower or faster. You find your pace. And I'm going to take my fingertips to my shoulders. And I'm going to take my elbows out on a roll as well. So it's like I'm drawing giant circles with my elbows, but try not to be too extreme with it. And I'm real bad at this. I kind of forget that this isn't trying to be my exquisite dancing self. This is me just trying to loosen, increase mobility in the shoulders. Good. We're going to extend it up to the arms. So we're going to go all the way around, and then we're going to come down into a squat. Okay, so you just consider, I'm going to just turn to the side so you can see the shape that I'm making. So I'm sticking my bum out, and I'm extending my arms forward, and I'm just tucking my chin down towards my chest, and then I'm coming straight back out of it. Then we're going to do a shoulder roll, one elbow circle, one full arm rotation, and then drag down into that squat. Hold it for a second and then come back up. You need to make that squat as deep or as shallow as you feel comfortable with today. We're going to do a few more of those. And around and press. Sending my tail back, think about where your chin is. So tucking that chin down towards the chest, so try not to lift your chin up. We're really bad for that because we want to look where we're going, or you're looking at me. So sending my bum back and my chin towards my chest. This time we're going to use it with a bit of breath. So breathing in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay, you might feel over if you breathe like that. Maybe don't do that again. We're going to do a couple more of those in your own time, just finding that gentle squat. I'm sending my weight right back. So if I try to take my toes off the floor, I could give them a wiggle. Tucking my chin in towards my chest. One more time. Shoulders, elbows, arms, and pressing back. Good. Okay, now this time we're going to do some shoulders, some elbows, some arms. We're going to press back, and we're going to lift up, and then we're going to keep going and find a rise. Now you're going to wobble, and that's okay. We're going to take it back down again. So here I go again. Shoulders, elbows, arms, pressing down, chin in, coming up, lifting up through the fingers, up, 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 just gently pressing the floor away through my toes, and then slowly lowering. We'll do one more of those. Should really start to feel some mobility and movement in your shoulders, especially if you've been in front of a computer today. I have today, and I'm definitely feeling that. So coming up, and pressing the floor away, and release. Good. Oh, I can feel that in my arms. Give your arms a little shake. Well done. Coming back round onto my mat, I'm going to take my toes towards the corners, like so. So not too wide with your toes, or not too wide with your legs either. So you're comfortable, I'm a bit twisted, comfortable place. And we're going to just take a little squat down, and straight back up again. Okay, I'm going to just put my hands on my hips so they're out your way. Straight down, and straight back up again. So we're trying to get a feeling of length and long. Try not to stick your bum out, but equally don't tuck it all the way under. Just your natural curve of your spine, it's there for a reason. Good. So this next time I want you to take it down and hold it down. And take your arms out, just like so. Okay, feel that. And then press it away. Good. Here we go. We take it down and press it away. And take it down and press it away. Right, if that's enough for you, you just keep doing that in your own time. If you want to step it up a little gear, then we can take it down into this squat, and we're just going to lift the opposite elbow and sweep the opposite arm down, opposite elbow, opposite heel to opposite leg. Okay, so you've got some options. Equally, if you do a couple of those and you think this was a bad decision, then you can come back out, regather, and go back in again. So find where you are. The beautiful thing about Pilates and this kind of mobility class is you just do as much or as little as you like. Take your rests when you need to, add in arms when you feel confident to, watch where your chin line is. We have a tendency to do this. So keep your chin tucked in towards your chest. When it's burning, okay, some of us don't like that feeling, and that's fine. Just take a moment and take it back in. We're going to do a couple more. So you're either going straight up and down, or you're lifting the heel. Those of you that are familiar with this class, I know this is one of LP's favourites. So she often adds this one in. Good. I'm going to do 3 more, or 3 more general squats if that's what you're on. And last one. Oh my goodness. Good. Give your legs a shake now, see? And now I'm feeling nice and warm. I can feel the endorphins buzzing around my body. I shall remove a layer. Right, I'm going to take myself down to the end of my mat. And we are going to do some roll downs. I'm just going to tuck this in my trousers so you can see what my body's doing. So, I'm starting at the very end of my mat. If you're familiar with this, then feel free to carry on. If you're new to the game, then why not have a watch? So I take my head leads, I'm rolling down the body. So my chin to my chest. I go as far as I comfortably can. Don't lock your knees, be soft. You'll feel that slight resistance, and then when you get there, you're carefully taking yourself out into a box shape. Then from there, I'm going to do 3 little press-ups. 1 and 2 and 3. And I'll reverse the motion. So I take everything back, really carefully, reversing it, find that little stretch, and slowly uncurl through the spine. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this. We're going to do a total of 5 times if you can. If you get to 3 times and you think enough is enough, then just take a rest on the mat in child's pose and have a little breath. When we're doing these press-ups, we're thinking of breathing in on the down and blowing the mat away. In on the down, blowing it away. In on the down and blowing it away. And then I'm trying to keep my pelvis super still as I walk myself back in. Find that little stretch, have a little look at my knees, and slowly uncurl. Lovely. So I'm going to have 3 more of those. So you might prefer to go faster than I am. You might prefer to do a full press up without your knees on the floor. You might just be happy to just do 1 press in there. You can really adapt it to however you feel. Very nice. So really chilled. Don't forget to rest. Don't want you to feel completely like rubbish and like you can't do it. Just do enough for how you feel on this Wednesday. Second to last. You might notice as you're watching me that I'm changing up which style of press-ups I'm doing. So at the minute I'm doing a tricep one, where my elbows take behind. And sometimes, if the space is allowing, I'll do a standing one. So this is my last one. So when you're on your last one, you're going to stay down on the mat and tip yourself back to rest your bum on your heels. Here I go. 3 of those. Last one. So I'm going to relax my toes. I'm just going to separate my knees and sit my bum back towards my heels and then take my fingers for a walk. So I'm making space between my knees for my body to bend. So just rest your forehead on the floor. Take a nice breath. And breathe out. And another one. And don't be afraid to move and wiggle. You don't have to be still. It feels nice to wiggle about. I quite like a wiggle. I always think it feels like you get a bit more space in your lower back. Okay, so you can turn your head towards me if that's helpful, whilst I show you the next bit and have a little rest. So we are going to do a couple of things up here. One which you'll probably be familiar, which is called, we call Superman. So you've got 2 options. You can trace the line, opposite foot and opposite arm, onto the mat and drawing it back in, okay? So that's option 1. Option 2 is you're tracing your line and you're doing a little lift and keeping a nice line. I'm really thinking of stretching from this finger to this toe and then back in. Okay, we're going to alternate each time. So I'm really trying to imagine like your back is really nice and flat, but we're not overarching this way and we're not going this way. We're just finding that natural place and keeping this part, your pelvis, nice and flat. So you could rest a cup of tea on there if you wanted to. So everyone taking into this box shape. I'm making sure that my knee is in line with my hip and my wrist is in line with my shoulder. I'm keeping that chin tucked as well. So it's not tucked here, but I'm definitely trying to look at my hands. I appreciate that's hard when you're trying to watch me, so just do your best. I'm going to trace my line out, so I'm stretching foot and opposite arm, finding that balance, and if you can, raise and lower, draw it back in, ready to go on the other side. So I take out the other arm and other foot, lift and lower. See, I know I'm not as steady on that side as I am on the other. So don't be afraid to just keep that contact with the floor if that's where you feel more comfortable. And if you are, whatever you're doing, really imagine there's a lovely cup of tea, or it might be a gin and tonic, knowing who's tuned in today, resting on that pelvis. And you want to keep, you don't want to spill a drop. Lift and lower. So this is working the whole body. This is waking everything up, no impact, finding that core strength, using your arms, finding your coordination and your balance. We're going to do one more on each side. Lift, so nice and easy. Try and use your breath if you can. I know it's hard, especially for our newer ones. Just try not to hold your breath if you can. Good, so that's your last one. Again, separate the knees and just sit back into child's pose. Take your head down towards the mat, take your fingers for a walk. Just take a rest there, take a nice deep breath. And sigh it out. Good, good. We're going to do one more exercise up on this box shape and then we're going all the way down onto the mat. So I'm in this nice box shape. And this time it's going to be like a dog peeing on a tree. If you're really feeling it on your wrists, then do stop. Give your wrists a bit of a massage and join back in when you can. Okay, there's absolutely no point in causing yourself any great discomfort. We're not going to do many of these. So option one, as I take a nice deep breath in, I'm thinking about that drink on my pelvis, being super still. I'm taking a breath in. As I breathe out, I'm lifting this knee like an inch off of the mat and then release. If you want to step it up a gear, I take a breath in and I lift as I breathe out. And I do a little leg raise, like a dog peeing on a tree. Okay, so you've got a couple of options. I'm going to come this way so I don't batter myself and my furniture. So you've either just taking an inch off one knee and then the other, or we're taking a full knee swing, one side and then the other. So we're really going to try and work with the breath this time, and then we're going to go onto the mat properly. Here we go. So I take a breath in, I breathe out, and I either lift or I swing. I'm going to demo the swing, or you're just lifting. Release. Breathe in. Breathe out on the other knee. So you're lifting. Dog peeing on tree. Really attractive. Very nice. Very good. So take a breath in. And breathe out. Good. Breathing in. And breathing out. Try to be long in the neck. Make sure there's space between your ears and your shoulders. Thinking about that drink, that cup of tea, that lovely cold glass of wine, or a lovely, deep, well-bodied red. That would be mine, by the way, in case you were wondering. And breathing out. And one more of these, and then we're done. And out. All right, and sitting back once more. Oh, release. My wrists are killing, so sorry about that. Take your fingers for a walk. Forehead towards the floor and just take a little rest. When you are ready, we're going to take ourselves out onto the side. Okay, so we're going to do some moves here. So those one or two of you joined a bit late. So actually, I forgot to say, grab a cushion. Okay, we're going to want. I like a cushion for this bit. I like maximum amount of comfort. So I got my nicest one. So I'm going to put my cushion up there. I thought it went with my like general ambiance. So I'm going to take us down onto my side, and we're going to just do some work on your legs. Okay, so you can use the cushion. You can. We're going to be up on our elbow to begin with. So I'm making a nice straight line. Maybe use the edge of your mat if you've got one today, and also thinking about where this elbow is. So it doesn't want to be over here, and you'll feel it. You'll feel this pull here. You almost want to tuck it under a little bit and adjust. And if your weight is back on towards the squishy bit of your bum, you want to find a knobbly hip and then push forward. So your weight is more balanced on this thigh. Okay, so when you're ready, we'll be using this hand here as a support, and I'm just going to do some really gentle leg raises. Okay, so it doesn't have to be very high because I'm keeping my leg in a parallel position. So your knee should be pointing towards me. And very quickly, you're going to feel it up in here. Okay, so it's really gentle and take your time. So nice breaths. So if you want to work a bit harder, you take that leg a bit higher, you go a bit quicker. Try, if you can, to not let your feet make contact between each lift. If it gets too much, take a stop and join back in when you're ready. We're going to just do a few more of these. 5, 4, try and grow out, lift out of your body, space between your ear and your shoulder. That's it, last one. And rest, well done. Oh yeah, that felt interesting. Hello. So give your leg a little squeeze, give it a shake, whichever you want. We're going to do one more little thing up like this. And I want you to imagine that with your big toe, you're drawing an M shape and you're bringing it back. So the bigger the M is, the more you're going to feel that. You can also flex your foot. So there's some options. Now I'm using my hand here. Another option is to take your hand off if you're feeling absolutely mental on this Wednesday night. So we're just going to do 3 more of these. 3, rest if you need to, and join back in. 2, and then we're going to just do 1 more. 1, oh yes, I can feel that. Oh my goodness, and give that a rest and a shake. Well done. Ah, okay, I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to have a proper relax now. Relax that leg in front. I still need to give mine a bit of a shake. It didn't enjoy that very much. It's been a while. Okay, so now we're going to concentrate on this underneath leg. I'm going to put a lot of focus in this area here, very important area here. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to think of squeezing my pelvic floor that we engaged at the beginning. And that squeeze makes that foot come off the floor. So it's going to be tiny action. It's not this. Unless you've got, I don't know, Wonder Woman's pelvic floor, which you might have, who am I to judge? But it's a really small movement. So a little squeeze, and we're squeezing the butt cheeks, you're squeezing the tops of your thighs together, and you're squeezing that pelvic floor. So you want to do a few of those. Try not to hold your breath when you do it. Try to breathe out if you can. Those of you that have done Pilates for a while will understand the breathing. I haven't mastered being able to teach it and breathe and do the actions yet, so, you know, I'll get there. But you will breathe in and breathe out on the lift. Breathe in. And out. Breathe in and out. 1 more of those. Breathe in and out. Very good. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give them a little squeeze. Okay. Whilst your knees are there, I'm just going to take my feet out to the palms of my feet, the insides of my feet in contact with each other there. And I'm just resting them, like I said, trying to keep my body in that nice straight line. You can do whatever you want with your head here. You can be here. You can be here. Do whatever you like. I might stay there, actually. It's quite nice. I'm going to put my hand on my hip. That's just for support. You might choose to put it here. All we're going to do is a classic clam. It's as sexy as it sounds. So I'm lifting my knee and releasing. So this is all working at these muscles here. But what I would urge you is to not really force it. It's just a mobility thing. It's just a strengthening thing. And again, we're breathing in and out. And in. And out. So try and keep this hip really stacked. So try not to let it open like a door. So just lifting that knee as far as it can comfortably go. I'm not very flexible in my hips. So try not to worry if it doesn't feel like it's going very far. Keep those feet in contact. Nice breath in. And out. Try and relax in your shoulders. We're going to do 3 more here in your own time. Last one. Very good. Give your legs a little stretch. I would suggest at this point lying on your tummy and having a wiggle. The very, very best way to release the tension in your hip flexors and your glutes. And you might just want to stay there, but I would hope you'll carry on with me. So we're going to give our legs a bit of a rest. I'm going to take myself up. So just take your time. Now's a good time to have a quick drink. We're going to be sitting cross-legged, which is massively uncomfortable for me. I am not a fan at all. But it's quite a good position for this. But if you really hate being cross-legged, then sit with your knees. You could put your cushion underneath if that's more comfortable. And if you are sitting cross-legged, and those of you that, who I said at the beginning, again, like if you've got a big fat book, there's quite a good thing to just park your bum on. And it really does help. Like I say, I hate sitting cross-legged. I found it so uncomfortable. But having this big book underneath me, having Tina Turner in my bum, seems to help. I mean, that's just magical. Or, of course, you could use your cushion. Okay, so we're going to do some work on the arms, and then we're going to carry on. So we're just taking a little break. Give your shoulders a little twist. That's good. Give your hands a little rest. So I want you to pull your elbows in towards your ribs and imagine that you can open and close your arms a bit like barn doors. Okay, so my elbows are staying close to my hips, not pinning them in. It shouldn't be too rigid, but they're really trying to keep them in. And then when I open the barn doors, I'm going as far as I can and thinking of squeezing my shoulder blades together down my back. Think about where that chin is again, so keep that chin slightly tucked in to get a bit of length in the spine. It's a really weird one, and very quickly you can feel it in your arms. If you want to be really perfect about it, then every time you close your doors, you change which arm goes on top. But to be quite honest, I'm sure the world will keep turning if you don't manage to do that every time. And you should be able to feel it. So this is a really good one for your arms. So if you're feeling like, oh, you know, if you hate your arms, if you did this every day, for a minute or two, a minute or two, is it? Okay, so we're going to up it a little gear. So we're going to open our doors. We're going to stretch out to the side, palms up as if you're holding a tray. Bring it back in and then close. And again, we open, extend, bring it in and close. Good. So take your time. Excellent. Think about breathing, because otherwise you'll die, which is definitely a fact. That's good. Think about that nice long neck. Take your time. Try not to have a lot of tension in your shoulders. There's loads of things to have to think about, but every time you think like it's really hard, just let it go a bit. Let it be quite loose and relaxed, and your muscles are just going to let themselves. I'm going to do 4 more of those. In your own time. 2 more. Last one. Very good. Give your arms a shake. Ooh, yes. Give your shoulders a bit of a roll. Lovely job. Now, we're going to head up onto the other side to do the other leg. Otherwise, we will be wonky donkeys, and nobody wants that. So, if you haven't had a little drink and you would like one, have one now. And then when you're ready, Tina Turner, I'll put you over there. I'm going to take myself down onto my mat this side, okay? So I'm just going to have a quick drink myself. Okay, lovely. So here I am, other side. I'm up on my elbow this time, so yeah, try and adopt that shape as well. Nice straight line, so again, rolling my hips forward. So I'm on that knobbly bit and then slightly in front of that. So the fleshy part of my thigh is really helping me to balance. You've got to be super careful that your elbow doesn't end up behind you. So you've got to kind of tuck that round. You'll feel if it feels odd. And don't be afraid to adjust yourself as you go. So there's no point keep doing it if it feels uncomfortable. Just stop. So I take my hand in front to rest. My feet are relaxed. I'm just taking a very gentle lift and lower. So if we're really starting to think about this now, if we go back to what we said right at the beginning, about thinking about engaging that core a little bit, that feeling of squeeze, as if you're trying to do that button up on that pair of jeans that you haven't put on for a while, that feeling of squeeze, pulling in that pelvic floor as well, so pulling up that elevator. And if you can think about those things when we're doing something that's fairly static, It's really strengthening from the inside out. That's good. So just let it float up. And when it starts to hurt, when it starts to feel like your leg is made of lead, really concentrate on some nice deep breaths. And lifting and lengthening and sending your ear away from your shoulder. We're going to do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. Very well done. Oh my word, gosh, look at that leg squeeze. Very good. Give it a good squeeze and a good shake. Do whatever you need to do. Give it a wiggle. So we're going to do the M&Ms, my little M shape. So again, we're staying up in this shape and I'm just tipping it forwards and back on top. So I'm saying it's really stacked here. Remember, you can take your hand off if you want to work a bit harder, or you can flex your foot. If you flex your foot, that really works hard. Oh my gosh, it's been such a long time since I've done this exercise. That is agony. Do not flex your foot. It's a bad idea. We're going to do 4 more. 4, 3. Keep growing nice and tall, so try not to shrink in here. It's really hard going. Don't forget to stop. If you need to stop, then stop. There's no point if your body's shaking or killing. You're not here to kill yourself. Last one. Oh, and rest. Ah, very good. Give them a squeeze. Oh my word. So now we get to really relax down into this position. So I'm bringing that working leg forward. I'm letting it just flop. And we're doing all the work on the underneath leg, if you remember. So there's a nice big squeeze. And that squeezing action is coming from your bum, the very, very, very top part of the inside of your thighs and your pelvic floor. And it takes a bit of a mind thing to get to that place. So find that mind thing. And when you're doing that engaging, that's when you breathe out. Relax to breathe in. Engage and breathe out. And in. If it's easier to completely flop over, then do. So relax and breathe in. Let everything go. And then engage and breathe out. 3 more of those in your own time. 2 more. And this is the last one for me. Very good. Okay, bring your both knees up in towards your chest. That's it. So if you want to get really comfy, this is a good time. I'm just taking my feet slightly down towards my bum a little bit further away from my bum, sorry. And we're going to go into these clams. So either hand here if you like, or hand here. And just a very gentle, but we really want you to think about not rocking backwards. So almost as if this leg is stuck to the mat, or your floor, or your towel. And we're just gently opening, closing. So it's just getting a little bit of mobility in the hips, increasing the strengthening in the hips. Really good if you suffer with bad back, which I do. So really taking your time. Now, whilst we're lying down, just using our legs, we can think about engaging that core a little bit. So pulling in that tummy as if you're doing up that button. Pulling in that pelvic floor, so getting up to about halfway in the elevator. If you feel the tension in your shoulders as you're going, which I do, then just try and don't be afraid to move them and rest or adjust your chin. We're going to do 4 more of these. 4 and 3. Think about that pelvic floor for the last 2 if you can. And 1. Oh yes, feeling that one. So onto your tummy and just have a little wriggle. Release your glutes. Take a moment. Feels quite nice. I like this bit. I've always done this, and then it only becomes a bit unfortunate when you're teaching men. This isn't very comfortable for them, funny enough. Okay, so we're going to go on to our backs now, and we're going to do a little bit more work on our centre. So I'm going to use my cushion to support my head. Now I would urge you to use a cushion, and you can as well if you feel more comfortable. add your book or another cushion. Because what happens is, there, it just helps to bring your chin in a little bit, and you will feel your ribs rest and settle down towards the floor or your mat or towel much easier. If you just do it, for an example, if I move my cushion, I feel like I'm like this. I feel like there's a lot going on here, and my rib cage starts to stick out, and then I can't do much down here. So I think it's much nicer to find that place where you're comfortable here, you're taking that tension out of your jaw a little bit, and then you're able to really think about what your pelvis is doing on the floor. So find your comfortable place. I'll give you a minute to work out where that is. Feel your ribs settle down towards the mat. Now, where my bum is, I want my feet to be a couple of hands length away from my bum just now for this bit. And you want to make sure they're not close together, and nor are they yards and yards apart. So we're making a nice straight line, a lovely straight line, goes all the way from my earlobes, all the way down through my shoulders, brushes past my rib cage, through my hips, through my knees, down to my ankles and out my toes. 2 parallel lines. So I know you can't see it, but you should be able to feel it. And then just as we're there, I want you to just think of rocking your pelvis backwards and forwards. So let's imagine that you've got a bowl of water in your pelvis, and you're just trying to tip it and play with it. So the more we tip this way, and the more I get an arch in my spine, and the more I tuck it under, my bum starts to feel like it wants to lift off. And if you do that for a while, actually it can feel a bit like a massage. Good, and then we do the same thing, and we're just going to let it rock from side to side a little bit. So really getting that feeling of what it feels like for your whole back to be on the floor. And what happens if we push your spine into the back? So we're imprinting your spine into the floor as if you were going to make a nice fossil-like imprint of your spine in the floor. And as you're rocking and rolling your hips and your pelvis forwards and backwards, just let it come to a point where you feel like, do you know what, that's my happy place, that feels nice. Think about where your shoulders are. So you might feel like you need to tuck them in a little bit. Think about where your chin is. You might even feel like now you need to adjust what you've got underneath your head. Like actually I sort of feel like maybe I could take the book away. Now I'm here. And that might feel a little bit better. Yeah, that sort of feels better. So just don't be afraid to adjust. Nothing is set in stone. So we're going to do something called the dead bug. So you've got a couple of options. I'm going to lift my leg to tabletop. That's option 1. Option 2 is to take both to tabletop. Now that might be enough for you. But we're going to add in some arms. So just like Superman, I take the opposite arm to leg, and I'm tapping my heel down on the floor, and my fingers above my head, and then I come back in and I swap over like so. Okay. So I'm just taking a little rest. Now you can do this, especially if you've got lower back pain. You can do this with one foot tapping without the arm. You can just hold one foot if that's enough for you, or you can do it with one foot and the arm as well. Okay, so you've got a few options. You might start off like this and think halfway through that was a mistake. Well, modify, absolutely modify. We're aiming to not press your spine against the floor for everything that you're worth. You should have a natural curve in your spine. You don't want your tummy to be too soft, but we don't want it to be crazy like this. Just want to think about pulling in that core that we had at the beginning, pulling in that pelvic floor a little bit. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, take the foot off the floor and another breath. And if you're taking both, take the other one. Think of pulling your rib cage down towards your hips, shortening that space there. I'm going to start with my taps. One heel goes down, the other above my head. We're thinking about our breathing. We're breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. So remember to modify. So take away the arms if you want to. Take away one of the legs if you want to. Think about keeping that chin in. Thinking about pulling in that core, just a little bit of strength in the core. But to be honest, when you're doing this action, your core is doing loads of work anyway. It's a pretty smart bit of kit. You don't really have to tell it to do an awful lot. Okay, so trust your body. If it gets too much, just take a little rest and join back in, settling your ribs down towards the mat. Good. Nice long sweeping arm if you're using those arms. We're going to do 4 more. 3 more. Last 2. Looking good. Last one. Very nice. So bring your knees in towards your chest. Have a little roll. Give yourself a little massage. That's good. Just do a little circle with those knees, one way and then the other. All right, so I'm going to place my heels back down. And just take a moment again to find that imprint. So whatever that is for you. So that feeling of the ribs settling onto the mat. Making sure your feet aren't wider than your hips. That lovely straight line going from your ears all the way down and out your toes. Thinking about that chin just slightly tucking in a little bit. And then relaxing your hips. Let it go. And that's where you'll want to be. So where your cup of tea was on your back earlier, your cup of tea is now here, or your gin and tonic, or your glass of wine, or your glass of water, let's say, it's here. So you've got this point between your hips and your pubic bone, which makes a nice triangle. And that triangle you want it to be flat. So I'm not here, so my hips are above my pubic bone, nor am I the other way. So you just want to rock your pelvis until you find that nice flat place. So you've got a natural curve in the spine. You should be able to post a letter under there. Nice and easy. Tuck your shoulders in if you need to. I'm going to take my hands behind my ears, behind my head. I'm just going to do a very slow roll up. So I breathe in. And as I breathe out, I'm just taking my shoulders off the floor. Breathe in and roll down. Lengthen the spine as I go. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out, send the energy up the top of your head, lengthen as you release. Breathe in, breathe out. Try and gently engage into your toes. So press your weight into your big toes. If you feel a lot of clenching in your jaw, then either take a rest, or I have heard that if you press your tongue into the roof of your mouth, it helps to relieve your jaw. So that's just where we're trying to get your jaw to take over from your core, and we want the core to be doing what it should be doing. Take a breath in and out. So really lifting up, thinking about that lovely flat pelvis. Think about that cup of tea. Keep it nice and still. We're going to do 3 more here. Breathing out. Good. Breathing in and releasing out. Excellent. Last 2, we're going to start to think more about your pelvic floor. Breathing in. As we breathe out, we're in that pelvic floor. Breathe in and out. And this time, let's really get that core going as well. Breathing in. Pulling in the pelvic floor and your tummy. Send that air out. Breathe in. And 1 more. And rest. Well done. Ugh. Let's do a whole body stretch. So I'm just taking my feet far away, hands above my head. Just have a little wriggle, have a little stretch as if you just woken up. Ooh, we've got 1 more little exercise, and then we're going to do some nice relaxation and some stretching to finish off. So you're going to need to move your head support now. Excuse me, we're back in this shape. So now we've been on the floor for a while. It shouldn't feel too crazy to take your head support away. You should feel like you're quite planted in the ground, hopefully. I'm going to rest my hands down by my side, making sure I've got that lovely line. So just be mindful. And if you're not sure, have a look. Right, my feet are definitely wider than my hips. I'm going to walk them in a little bit. That's usually about the space of a fist between your knees or an orange. That's plenty, plenty. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. And as I breathe out, I'm going to peel my body off the mat. I'm going to start with my tailbone. I'm going to try and get up through every vertebra of my body, all the way up onto my shoulders. I'll take a breath in. And then I'll reverse that action. So we've got to really tuck in your rib cage. So we're going to get all of the vertebrae on my rib cage down. And the small of my back is really hard to get into the mat before I release it into my pelvis. Nice. So it's like a real feeling of getting every bit of your spine to make contact with the mat one at a time, like a bike chain. You breathe in. We breathe out. So I tilt my pelvis first. I press the small of my back in. And I'm unpeeling all the way up to my shoulders. Take a breath in. And reversing the action. So really try. I find it's nice to close your eyes in this bit and really imagine each little bit of my spine having its turn. Breathing in. Tilt that pelvis first. So pick up your pelvis. All the way up, 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 up. See how high you can get it this time. Breathing in and out. Okay, so this might be enough for you. And if that is enough for you, then just keep doing that in your own time. If you want to add a little something, when you get up into that full shoulder press, you're just going to take your arms above your head and back down. Before you take another breath and release, peeling through the body one bit at a time. Very nice. So we'll just do a few more of those. So you're working at wherever you want to be. So either just the hip raising into a shoulder press or using the arms as well. Sending that energy out through your knees to the opposite side of the space. I'm going to do two more. Lift, 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 lift. Big breath in if you're doing the arms as well. Send that energy away out of your kneecaps towards your opposite wall. Really don't lose that sense of peeling. Last one. Nice breath. All the way up, lifting up through the hips, nice and easy through the shoulders. Breathing in and out, using the arms. Long neck, imagine your shoulders lengthening as you send those hands away. In and out on the way down. Very nice. Bring your shoulders in towards your chest, knees in towards your chest even. Give yourself a little massage, just have a little roll. Nice and easy. Get some movement in your head, neck as well. There's quite a lot going on. Ooh, makes you feel weird if you do both actually. Okay, we're going to have a few nice stretches now. So just staying where we are, just want you to release your arms out to the side, palms facing upward. And you're just going to drop your knees over to one side. Now everyone is different in terms of how far they can go. This might feel like a really strange position to you. If you can, then take your eye line to the opposite way to where your knees are going. So my knees are towards you and I'm looking the opposite way. Try and relax. Don't try and squeeze your knees together. We're just resting now. So we kind of get a bit of mobility in your spine. Try to relax. Try to get some weight into your hips and into your pelvis. Then you're just going to bring that top leg and open it out. This is one of my favourite positions, which is unusual given that I'm not very flexible in my hips. It's just a lotus position. So the palms of my, again, the soles of my feet are together, not the palms of my feet. And I'm just taking a moment there. So it's quite nice to have a bit of a wriggle, but equally it's very nice to just be still. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And then breathe out. And let gravity do a bit of the hard work here for you. Lady Gravity, let her do it all. Nice breath in. Just drop your chin as you breathe out. Get some space in your neck. And then folding that knee over. So now your knees are pointing in the opposite direction to they were before. Just take a moment there, adjust yourself as you need to. Then take your eye line away from your knees. Get some space. Nice spiral in the spine. Again, especially if you spend a lot of time at a desk, this is a really nice one. Okay. And now this time I'm going to set my knees sweep all the way over. So then me on the other side, back to where we are. So we're facing the same way. I'm looking at you, my knees are looking at you, and I'm going to bring my hands together like so. So palms are together this time, not soles, palms. And I'm just going to open up this top arm, following it with my eye line, keeping my knees where they are. Like you're drawing a rainbow, as far as you can comfortably go. You might be able to reach to the floor. It's not the aim of the game. It's just to go as far as you can possibly go, comfortably. And then drawing it back in. I really like this one. This is one of my friends. We breathe in as we go this time. Breathe in. And out. All the way as far as you can comfortably go. You can go as fast or as slow as you like. If it's uncomfortable where your feet are in relation to your knees, just take your feet further away from your bum. So decrease that bend in the knees. Might feel quite different. Very nice. We're going to do one more here, and this time when we get to the open position, we're going to pause, transfer our weight over, coming momentarily through that lotus, shifting our hips until we're on the other side. Closing our hands, we do exactly the same thing, just working on the other side of the body. So I'm opening out my hand, drawing a rainbow. Follow your hand with your eye line as far as you can comfortably go. See, I can get my hand on the floor on this side, but I couldn't on the other. And that's really normal. So again, the aim is not to get your hand to the floor. The aim is to just let that heaviness of the hand get some space in the side of your body, get some spiral in your spine. Don't be afraid to take your feet further away from your bum if it's more comfortable to do so. Then try to use a bit of breath if you've got the capacity to do so. Last one. This time we're going to hold it there and then bring our feet back flat towards the mat. Lovely. Good, good, good. Just have a little wiggle. Excellent. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Give lower back a bit of a massage. Like so. Excellent. Now, we're going to do one more little leg stretch. Yes, we are. And then we're going to do a little tiny bit of relaxation, okay? So we're going to keep everything on the mat, and I don't want you to have to move off of the mat. Even when it's finished, the class, I want you to stay where you are and rest and close your eyes. But just for now, just resting one foot on the mat, squeezing your other knee in towards your chest, tuck your chin down, give it a squeeze. And then just open it out, do a little circle. You might hear some clunking. I definitely can hear some clunking. And then when you've done one way, just go the other. We've worked really hard on your legs and your hips today. Very nice. And then just give it a little stretch out. And then the other knee. So one foot flat. Let's just make sure there's no extra tension on your hip flexor. Of course, you can stretch your leg if this is better for you, if you prefer it. Up to you. I like to keep my foot there because I find it supports my lower back a little bit better. So you do what you need. So we'll start with some little circles, and then I just release one hand, and then after a while I just find my arms aren't long enough for them. Take it one way, and then the other. Very nice. And a little stretch it away. Good. Whole body stretch. Hands above the head. Oh, as if you've just woken up from a really good nap. Okay, so I'd really like for you to stay on your mat, whether that's lying on your back or whether you want to find your cushion again and you feel more comfortable on your side. So find your comfortable place. Then you can just rest and take a breath and have a reflect. So I'll just give you a bit of a moment. Even if you've got a blanket nearby and you want to drag that on top of you and snuggle in, I'm going to take some time on my back. This is my happy place. No tension in the body. Just rest your hands wherever they're comfortable. And draw your mind towards your breathing. So we're all living through a very, very stressful time. Everyone is living their most weird life at the moment. Everyone's story is different, with one common theme that everyone is having moments of struggle and moments of incredible sheer strength that I think we all recognise that we didn't know we had. So in this moment, in these few minutes that you can take out of your week to get you over Wednesday hump day, draw your mind to your breath, take a nice deep breath in through the nose and really fill your lungs. Fill, breathing in as much as you can. Fill, and then when you breathe out, I want you to let every bit of air out. All the way, keep breathing out right to the bottom of your lungs, that little bit of air that never gets out, all the way, and then nice big breath in. And again, breathing out. Really heavy sighing breaths. And as you're lying there, and then you just let your breathing come back to where you naturally want it to be. So don't force it. You're encouraged to breathe through our nose at all times, increases oxygen in the body. Sometimes breathing through your mouth just makes you feel more relaxed. And as you're lying in your space, just let your body yield to the floor. Be as heavy as you can be. Be as aware as you can be of the weight of your body on the floor. Of your hips, of your shoulders, of your head, of your legs. Of the sheer amazingness of this body and how heavy it is when you give in and really, really enjoy to relax. And just focus on that feeling of relax. If you're listening to music, enjoy that music. I can hear the rain on the window. Nice breaths. And then if you're lying on your back, just let your head move from side to side a little bit. And I want you to stay in that relaxed state for as long as you need. And whilst you're lying there and you're taking some breaths and taking some time, the meeting is going to end and you're not going to need to move, you're not going to have to say goodbye, you don't have to say thank you. You can just get up when you want and go and do whatever you feel you want to do next. Have a cup of tea, have a bath, go to bed, put the telly on, whatever you need. And be thankful that you've taken this time for yourself this evening in this weird and wonderful time. So I'm going to take a few more deep breaths and I'm going to leave you. So thank you, but stay where you are. Nice deep breath in and out and in and out.